A to the K.
To the K.
To the K.
Coming at you quicker than a Kevin Dunn camera cut, it's time for the Rapid Roundup. Kicking off SmackDown this week, tag team action. Io and Bayley taking on the team of Charlotte and Shotzi. Asuka appears at ringside, causing a little bit of a distraction and allows Shotzi to get another win over Bayley. After the match, Asuka gets in Io's face, throws the title down, marking her territory, I guess, and making a challenge for potentially Fastlane. Who knows? I expected it to be Charlotte. Maybe we're going to get some kind of triple threat. It remains to be seen, but interesting nonetheless. Following on from this, LA Knight comes out, completely kills Kevin Nash. A throwback to his old WCW promo. He goes after The Miz. He also says he doesn't need Cena. He didn't need Cena's endorsement. Just as he's about to accept another match with The Miz, Grayson Waller comes out with Austin Theory, and they trade barbs ahead of LA Knight defeating Theory in a one-on-one contest. Following on from this, Judgment Day cut a promo, but interrupted by the Brawling Brutes of all people. They basically have a tag match. Finn gets the win for his team, but after the match, Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits come out and stare them down. So I'm interested to see where this goes. The fact that Bobby was there as well, are we going to get like some kind of 3-on-3? We're getting some kind of tag team title match. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe we'll get a mixture, but again, Fastlane could be where that takes place. So let's see what happens with that one. Lastly, for SmackDown, Jimmy Uso tells Paul Heyman that he's still in the Bloodline, which is an interesting take since he was slandering Roman's name and basically saying he wanted nothing to do with it the other week, but here we are. Paul says he's going to bring the family back together and basically says main event Jimmy Uso needs to take on AJ Styles and handle business. During the match, which closes out the night, Solo and Heyman do come down, stand at ringside, but they don't get involved, much to the shock of Jimmy, and AJ goes on to get the win. As he goes to leave, however, Judgment Day attack AJ Styles, throw him into the ring to Solo, who basically takes care of him. So are we maybe sowing the seeds for some kind of Survivor Series shenanigans? Perhaps. But yeah, interesting on this. I feel like there's a lot of storylines all going over the place. I don't think it's very clear exactly what's going to happen at Fastlane or on the road to Fastlane or even after. So yeah, lots to keep up with. Moseying over to Monday Night Raw. Jey Uso kicks off Raw, and he is over. The fans are very much behind him. He says it's so good to be out of the Bloodline and it's good to be on Raw. Kevin Owens comes out and says what Jey meant to say is Jey Uso is now on the Kevin Owens show. Owens does understand, however, what it's like for Jey to be a scumbag and nobody want you around. But if he wants to earn people's trust, he has to prove he's not the same scumbag he was when he was in the Bloodline. Judgment Day, okay, come out next, and as per usual, Dom can't get a word in, whether it's piped in, probably sounds like it. But basically, they say they thought they had a match with Owens and Sami Zayn, but since Sami Zayn isn't here, Jey says he's going to earn Kevin Owens' trust by teaming up with him. So yeah, we end up getting a match, but by the end of the match, Jey accidentally kicks Kevin Owens and Judgment Day get the win. So tensions still arise around this. Also, The Miz avenges his loss to Tozawa now that LA Knight isn't around to distract him. Chelsea Green tries to enlist Shayna Baszler as a new partner, but Piper Niven grabs the title and says she's cleared, and that ultimately leads to Shayna Baszler beating Chelsea Green later in the night. We also get an Intercontinental Championship celebration for the longest reigning champ of all time, Gunther himself. Chad Gable, though, interrupts, says nobody came as close to beating Gunther as he did, and he wants another opportunity. Gunther calls him a terrible father, and suddenly everything explodes. Otis tries to make the save, but the numbers game has Imperium on top until Tommaso Ciampa, of all people, comes down, clears house with a chair, and again leads to a match later in the night in which Alpha Academy and Ciampa getting the win after Gable taps out Giovanni Vinci. So I'm guessing we're getting another rematch, probably a Fastlane between these two for the IC title, maybe some kind of Iron Man or multiple falls match, but always good seeing these two in the ring. Love Gable. Don't think he'll get it done still, but I'm excited to see. Speaking of people I'm excited to see, it's always nice, a feast for the eyes, to see Drew McIntyre. Him and Xavier Woods have a bit of a confrontation backstage. Xavier says Drew is jealous because his biggest moment was in front of nobody, while Kofi's big win was in front of 82,000 people. Couple of things to unpack here. Firstly, shot at AEW, sounds like it. Also, what a weird brag to be like, you may have won the belt, but my friend did it in front of people. Like, you haven't won it, Xavier. Like, duh. But anyway, it leads to a match. Drew gets the win. After the match, we see him backstage confronting Jey Uso, and they're set for a match next week as well. So it seems like Jey has got a lot of making up to do. Following on from this, Cody is back on Raw and comes out, and we get the whoa. And then before he can say much else, Dominic and JD McDonough come out, and he beats them both up. Not really sure what's happening, why Cody's not been around, why he's not wrestling, is he going to SmackDown? No idea, but a bit of a waste of a segment. Seth Rollins says he's a father, he's a fighter, and he's the World Heavyweight Champion. For a long time he didn't know who he was, but the fans are the reason he can look his daughter in the eyes, be at peace with his past, and be proud of his future. He offered Shinsuke Nakamura another match, but Shinsuke said no, and he wants to do it on his own terms. Suddenly we see Nakamura on screen. He says he didn't think Seth was cleared, but he found another fight. As we see, he's taken out Ricochet. So yeah, again, are we going to get some kind of triple threat at Fastlane? Ricochet added into the mix here? Are we going to get some sort of tag team thing? I don't really know. But yeah, I'm kind of done with Shinsuke and Seth, so anything that speeds it up, that would be great. Main event time, we get a rematch for the women's title between Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez. Just as Raquel looks to have the upper hand, however, out of nowhere, a wild Nia Jax appears, takes out Rodriguez, and Ripley gets the win. After the match, Nia destroys Ripley and stands tall in the middle of the ring. So yeah, this was a thing that happened. Not sure how I feel about it, to be honest. I like the fact that Rhea's been so dominant, been defeating everybody. Raquel was obviously a very good mirror matchup, someone similar height and style and strength. But now add Nia Jax into the mix, and wow, it gets interesting. So yeah, not a massive Nia fan, but let's see what it means for Rhea Ripley in the title, shall we? Over to AEW with Dynamite now. Orange Cassidy kicks off the show. He says they told him to stay home, but he's going to be here every single week, belt or no belt. Moxley comes out, stares him down ahead of his match with AR Fox. And yeah, Mox retains the title as expected. Following on from this, Statlander defends the TBS title against Emi Sakura. And the Sex Gods reunite to take on Aussie Open. Towards the end of the match, Jericho accidentally hits Sammy, but Jericho still manages to get the win. After the match, they get into a bit of a shoving contest. So wrestling tropes are, well and good. We saw something very similar on Raw. We're seeing the same thing on Dynamite. Accidentally hitting each other, hitting your partner, animosity in the air. I also just, I get why they put title matches on it, I suppose, a lot in AEW, but they're never going to change hands, so it just spoils it, because you're just like, well, what am I wasting time watching this for? I know who's going to win. But yeah, is what it is. MJF comes out next, followed by Samoa Joe. They trade some jabs in the ring. MJF, awesome as always. And I've been, we've been saying really enjoying Samoa Joe lately as well. Joe says he didn't see him as a little kid back in NXT, saw him as a little bitch. So MJF slaps him in the face, and Joe says he's not going to retaliate and ruin his shot at the title. He's going to win the title eliminator tournament and face him for the belt. Just as MJF goes to leave, though, Joe beats him down. Adam Cole makes a save, and MJF says he can't feel his arm and is escorted out by medical staff. So yeah, don't really know what's going on with the whole neck issue now. Obviously going down with the neck and arm issue as well. Interesting take. Hopefully they're not doing it as a way to get the belt off him, because I mean, who are they going to give it to? Joe? Like, better not be Roderick Strong, could you imagine? So yeah, we'll talk about that now, actually, because Roderick Strong is up next. He defeated Trent to get a place in the next round, and Toni Storm kills it again with an interview, telling Renee to keep her chin up, her tits out, and watch for the shoes, as she launches her shoes at Renee. So yeah, Toni Storm killing it, and Roderick Strong not so much. Hangman Page thanks teachers for all they do, says that's why he donated 50 grand to the Chicago Public Entertainment Fund. He's interrupted by Sneaky Swerve. He says being in a casket for 2 weeks gives you some clarity. Like, really? You were just in that casket for 2 weeks? sure. But yeah, he basically says Hangman has gotten comfortable. He gets opportunity after opportunity on a silver platter, and if he'd got the opportunities Hangman had got, then he'd be the first black AEW champ by now. Hangman says he's had enough of it this year, and if he wants a match, to go through the people in the back. Swerve mentions his wife and kids, which angers Hangman again, and Brian Page takes him out. So again, across both shows, saying things about people's families gets you punched in the mouth. We also get, in the main event, Darby taking on his protege, Nick Wayne. What are the odds that the tournament bracket would fall this way? At one point, Darby decides not to hit the coffin drop. Very conflicted throughout, but eventually ends up submitting Wayne in quite a nasty fashion. So I couldn't really understand why he wouldn't coffin drop someone, but he's quite happy to rip his arms off. But yeah, goes on to the semis against Roderick Strong. Over on Rampage, Penta and Jay Lethal kick off the show in their title eliminator tournament match, and Penta gets the win. He gets to the semi-finals against the winner of the Rampage main event. Chris Jericho and Sammy have another conversation, this time on the stage, saying there's animosity between them, so they're going to do what they always do, and they're going to fight. They're going to fight each other at Grand Slam. After that, they're going to get all of it out of the way. They'll make a run for the tag titles, so let's see what happens here. Something tells me that's not going to be the case. We then get Taya Valkyrie teaming up with Anna Jay and the Bunny to take on Hikaru Shida, Sky Blue, and Britt Baker. There's a little bit of confusion during the match, of which Baker and Shida, kind of get each other's way, don't really understand what's going on, but ultimately Britt gets the win. After the match, Shida's not very happy though, and she storms off in a bit of a huff. Young Bucks, it was quite a stacked Rampage to be fair this week. Young Bucks defeat Daddy Magic and Cool Hand Ange. We also get a promo package from Santana, which caused a bit of controversy over on Twitter. Said he's going it alone, no crutch, no crew. Rumours, of course, of real life issues between the pair of them, and yeah, they basically both went off at each other on Twitter afterwards. So by all accounts, it's legit, so we'll see if that's the case. But yeah, interesting all round. Main event, Samoa Joe takes on Jeff Hardy in what felt like an episode of TNA, and yeah, basically Samoa Joe choked him out, and he's going to face Penta on Collision in the semi-finals for the tournament. Speaking of Collision, international title match again kicking off the show, and shock horror, Jon Moxley retains, and after the match he shows him a little bit of respect, which is a bit, I don't know, not really in his character maybe, but yeah, it was a match and it happened. We follow up with another title on the line again. Statlander again defending the TBS title in an open challenge, met by Robin Renegade of all people. Like, right, okay, I wonder who's gonna win. But yeah, so obviously title is retained, and the Renegade twins start beating down the champ, but Jade Cargill returns. She is back, disposes of the twins, and helps Stat up, only to hit her with the Jaded as she holds up the belt. So yeah, looks like we're getting a rematch between these two. Gun Club minus Jay White, well, he was there in cardboard cutout form, defeated the trio of Gravity, Inframundo, and Aerostar, and we got a hell of a promo from CJ Perry. She says Miro says if he wants to go down this path, she respects it, but she's going to have to go down hers. She's torn. She was once the coldest manager in wrestling, and she thinks she wants to do it again. So I think great coup for getting CJ Perry. I think big fan, and I'm glad that she's killing it already. We then get Rey Fenix defeating Angelico. Claudio and Kingston agree to a match at Grand Slam in a sit-down interview, and Keith Lee says he is the Collision, and in a little bit of a nod to Bray Wyatt, aka Wyndham Rotunda, his advice to people is run. So yeah. We then get Roderick Strong taking on Darby Allin, but backstage he is attacked before the match by Luchasaurus. Despite this, the kind of guy he is, Darby comes down, has the match anyway, and it happens to have the better Roderick Strong, but AR Fox accidentally hits Nick Wayne, so again more distractions going on there, and Strong gets the win. So he's going to face the winner of Samoa Joe and Penta. Danielson addresses his future and confirms he told his daughter once she turns 7 he's going to start finishing up his career. She's 6 right now, and he keeps his promises, so time is running out. If this is his final year, it's going to be the most epic of his career, and he's calling his shots. A Wrestle Dream, he wants Zack Sabre Jr. Ricky Starks, though, comes out with Big Bill. Danielson offers him a place in the Blackpool Combat Club, but Big Bill beats him down, followed by Starks as well. Moxley tries to make the stave, but he's overpowered, and yes, Starks gives Danielson a taste of his own no medicine as he chokes him out, which takes us to the main event. Samoa Joe defeating Penta to set up Joe versus Strong in the finals. This whole tournament's been a waste of time. I love a tournament. I love King of the Ring. I love some of the tournaments we've done in the past in AEW, but they're so obvious. The same with the title changes that I keep saying. Like, you know, what are the odds the two guys with beef with MJF in Roderick Strong and Samoa Joe happen to be the two they're going to face off? Like, yeah, I get it, build storylines, it's good that you're doing it, but like the way to get there, why do we need a tournament for that? Why not just have it between them two and be like, I want him, no, I want him, like, we'll fight then. Why go through all this rigmarole? It's almost like, well, we've got nothing to fill the show this week, let's put a tournament in. So yeah, don't know what's going to happen. I imagine Joe's going to win. I imagine we'll get Joe versus MJF, but I don't think the stuff with Roddy and Cole and MJF is done either. So yes, that was another fun-filled week of the Rapid Roundup. We managed to clear it in under 16 minutes. So let us know in the comments, what did you think this week? What do you think of the stuff going on in WWE? Lots of storylines everywhere. What is Fastlane going to look like? And what are your thoughts on AEW? Seems just a bit phoned in at the minute, so sorry to throw shade, but that's how it feels. Happy Jade Cargill's back though. Let's see what happens there. But yeah, let us know in the comments what you think, and we will catch you on the next one.